Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 31. I'll read the translation again. Clouds and dust are carried by air, but less intelligent persons say that sky is cloudy and the air is dirty. Similarly, they also implant material bodily conception on the spirit self. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says something quite amazing, that Sutre Manigana Eva, just like on a necklace, pearl necklace, there is a string that ties the pearls together to form the beautiful necklace. No one sees the string, everybody sees the pearls, but it's a string that is holding everything together. And Krishna says, I am that string that holds the universe, the creation together. So we don't see Krishna, or we see Krishna, but others don't see Krishna. They only see the universe. So same way, the clouds and the dust are carried by air. People don't see the air. They see the cloud and dust. Similarly, the material body is not by itself existing. It is carried by the spirit self, spiritual self, the soul. But people see the body and they connect with the body, and it's a bodily conception of life. Whereas the spirit is often ignored or not even known that it exists. Text 32. Atah param yad avyaktam avyudha guna brahmitam adarshata sruta vastutvat sajivo yat punarbhava. Beyond this gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form, which is without formal shape, seen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety. Otherwise, he could not have repeated births. So beyond the gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form. That means there's a gross body, there's a subtle body. Anybody remembers what subtle body made up of?
Yes, Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
Mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Right. So mind, intelligence, false ego is a subtle body, and the gross body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So here it's being spoken, beyond the gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form, which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond the subtlety. That means the subtle body, that is not soul. Many people mistake the mind to be the soul. It's not. Beyond that subtlety is even more subtler than the soul, which is this, subtler than the mind is the soul. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety. Otherwise, he could not have taken repeated births. Because at death, everything kind of comes to an end, which is physical. But the metaphysical or subtle body moves on from physical body to the next physical body. Yatrim sadasad rupe prathe sva samvidha avidyatmani krite iti tad brahma darshanam. When a person experiences by self-realization that both the gross and the subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure self, at that time he sees himself as well as the Lord. It's really important what is being spoken here. When we understand from experience and self-realization, not like just like, okay, Prabhuji said, so must be true. No, but actual from self-realization, this is my subtle body. This is my gross body. And the gross and the subtle body have nothing to do with the pure soul, the conscious being. At that time, he sees himself as well as the Lord. That means at that time he sees, I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this intelligence. I am spiritual soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So the soul's identity is tied with Krishna. Like so-and-so is husband of, like Lakshmi Pati, Krishna is husband of goddess of fortune. Or so-and-so is wife of Mrs. So-and-so, let's say. So same way, you mention somebody and somebody else is tied up with them. Same way, when you describe the pure soul, when you see the pure soul separate from the gross body and the subtle body, naturally the soul's identity is related to the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. Who's the soul? Part and parcel of Krishna. That's the identity. No, subtle body is not the soul, Vibhuti Mataji. Subtle body is material. हम जिसको भूत बोलते हैं ना, that's a subtle body. So when a ghost is there and doesn't have a material body to live, that ghost is called subtle body. That's the mind, intelligence, ego, bhatakta hua atma, as they call. Okay. Aparna, can you read the next verse?
Hare Krishna. Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 34.
Are you sick?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yeah, I'm sick, but is my voice like clear?
Yes, your voice is clear, and thank you for reading. And if you can't read, you can say no.
No, I can read it.
Okay.
I just woke up.
Okay.
Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 34. Yatesho parat devi maya vaisharati matiham sampannayavati vidur mahimni swe mahiyate. Translation. If the illusory energy subsides and the living entity becomes fully enriched with knowledge by the grace of the Lord, then he becomes at once enlightened and self-realization and thus becomes situated in his own glory. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If the illusory energy subsides, when does she subside? When we surrender to Krishna. Otherwise, Ma Durga will never subside. She's ready with her Trishul. So if the illusory energy subsides and the living entity becomes fully enriched with knowledge by the grace of the Lord, then he becomes at once enlightened with self-realization and thus becomes situated in his own glory. Right? What is the glory of the soul? What is his own glory? Glory is, I am servant of Krishna. I'm part of Krishna. I'm a, spark of divine glory. That's my glory. Otherwise, right now, what is our glory? I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a this, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm an entrepreneur, I've worth 10 crores, 100 crores, 1,000 crores, whatever. Nothing compares to the fact that I'm part and parcel of Krishna. How awesome is that? I am a tiny part of Krishna. That's very, very significant. That's the glory of the living entity that we have forgotten, and we are trying to put medals of honor from other things. If the illusory energy subsides and the living entity becomes fully enriched with knowledge, knowledge of what? I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. The illusory energy means I am this body, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that, I'm great, I'm not so great, I'm ugly, I'm pretty, all that. But when the real knowledge comes in, I am part and parcel of Krishna, then one becomes enlightened. I am small, Krishna is great. And from that self-realization that Krishna is great and I am his part, that's how I am also great. That's the glory of the devotee. That's the glory of any living entity, when they identify with Krishna rather than identify with Maya. Evam janmani karmani hi akartur ajannasya cha varnayanti sma kavyo veda guhyani ritpate. Thus learned men describe the births and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literatures. He is the Lord of the heart. Ritpate. Nice name. Ritpate. Lord of the heart. Like Pati, Pate means the Lord. Ritpate, Lord of the heart. I like it. Thus, learned men describe the births and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literatures. He is the Lord of the heart. So Krishna is being defined as who's unborn and inactive. Inactive as in materially inactive, spiritually very active, materially inactive, which is undiscoverable even by Vedic literatures. Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. But Durlabham through Vedic knowledge. To the Munis, to the Vedas, Lord Brahma says in Brahma Samhita that he's undiscoverable. His name is Adhokshaja, beyond mind and senses. But to his devotees, very discoverable. Devotee just says, Krishna, Krishna comes. That's how loving he is. Right? Just like a child calls out, just cries and mother comes running. Krishna is like that to his devotees. So thus learned men describe the birth and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literatures. He is the Lord of the heart. So Krishna can't be even understood from Vedic literatures unless he appears in our heart and gives us realization. Through that, the unknowable Lord can be very easily known. And then he becomes even more unknown. And then more is to be known. And more is to be known. And unlimitedly we can know about Krishna. Aparna, would you, even if you feel okay, would you kindly recite?
Sure. 36. Sava idam vishvam amoghalilam srajate vatiti na sajate smin bhuteshu chantarhitatma tantraha sadvargikam jikrati sadgunesaha. Translation. The Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates the manifested universes, maintains them, and annihilates them without being in the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent.
The Lord whose activities are, thank you very much. The Lord whose activities are always spotless. Amala Purana, spotless Purana. That's what Bhagavatam is called, spotless. So Lord, his activities are also spotless. He is the master of the six senses, Rishikesha, and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. What are the six opulences? Anyone remembers?
May I try, Prabhu?
Please.
It is strength, famous, beauty, and wealth. Is the most wealthy. I cannot remember the two rest, Prabhu.
Renunciation.
Renunciation
And someone else wants to help?
Prabhu, intelligence.
intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, Shudipta is talking about intelligence. How nice.
Everything that I lack, sir.
All right. So the Lord, so six opulences. The Lord whose activities are always spotless is a master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates the manifested universes. See, Bhagavatam is talking about parallel universe way before people knew about it. So he creates universes, maintains them, and annihilates them without being in the least affected. So creating universes is effortless for the Lord. It's not like it will work very hard to do it, because that's how God should be. God should not be Atlas carrying the big globe on his shoulder. God is effortlessly creating things. He is within every living being and is always independent. So it's important to note that contrasting ideas are being spoken here, right? He is within every living being, yet he is independent. If I were to say, you're living in my home, but you're independent, it's like that. Yes, he's within, but he's also independent. He's not reliant on the body. If the body dies, where will God live? No, not like that, right? He's independent, even though he's within every living entity. So again, glories of who God is, that is being defined. Na chasya kaschin nipune dhatur avyati jantu kumanisha utihi namani rupani mano vacho bihi santanvato nata charyam ivaj naha. The foolish, with the poor fund of knowledge, cannot know the transcendental nature of the forms, names, and activities of the Lord, who's playing like an actor in a drama. Nor can they express such things, neither in their speculations nor in their words. So those foolish doesn't mean unintelligent. Foolish means materially intelligent, but spiritually foolish, right? Materially, they might be very accomplished, but spiritually, they don't have the knowledge about Krishna. So they cannot know the transcendental nature of the form, names, and activities of the Lord. Thereby, Mayavadis come with all the wrong conclusions. That, oh, Krishna wasn't there, he's the mind. Pandavas are the five senses. Kurukshetra is the body. It's all allegory, it's not history. It's not this, it's not that, right? Because poor fund of knowledge. They're not very intelligent, spiritually speaking, because they're reliant on themselves. When we rely on Krishna, we have access to unlimited knowledge from the supreme knowledge and supreme personality. That's our source. But those who don't have that shelter, don't have that source, their knowledge is based on their tiny brain and their own speculation, and that doesn't yield much. So it's important to understand that. With poor fund of knowledge, one cannot know the transcendental form, names, and activities of the Lord. The activities of the Lord, which is stealing butter or cutting people's heads off with his Sudarshan Chakra, or dancing with the gopis, or slapping Kamsa to death. These are not things that are understandable to common people. People think Krishna was just another human being. I get that so much. Oh my God, wherever I go in my friend circle, they will start telling me about Krishna. I do not want to hear about Krishna from them, but they will say, oh, 16,108 wives. Why can't I have 16 wives? I'm like, do you have the aukat for it? Can you maintain one wife properly? What to speak of 16 wives? But that's the mentality. They compare themselves with God. They don't realize, hello, this is God. This is not just another human being, a tiny, insignificant creature who will become an ant in the next life. No, this is God. This is the source of entire creation. Please understand, just because he has two hands, two legs, he's not like us. We are a tiny, insignificant spark of him. So there is no comparison between Anu and Vibhu, between the infinite and the infinitesimal. There is no comparison whatsoever. It's important that we understand that. As devotees, at least, we should understand that, because we have knowledge. But unfortunately, those who are not devotees, they will just be like, what's the big deal? I was like that. When I would see, my best friend is an architect. And he would take me to these very special architect exhibits where big name architects would create, various artifacts. And I remember I would see them and just be disgusted. Like, this is so simple, anybody can do it. That is so simple, anybody can do it. And I would kind of go like that. And he would tell me like, but did you do it? It takes a lot of creativity to go there. Yes, it looks simple, but to think of it and to do it, it's a whole different task. Unless you do it, you don't know. Same way, many of us here are entrepreneurs. To build a business from 0 to even 1 lakh rupees, one who has done it knows what it is. Somebody else who has a salary of 2 lakh rupees would be like, what? I'm getting 2 lakh rupees with salary. With business, you only have 1 lakh rupees. They might not appreciate the effort it takes to go from 0 to 1 lakh, to go from 1 lakh to 10 lakhs, to go from 10 lakhs to 10 crores. The effort, unless you do it, you will not be appreciated for it. Those who know, they know, and they can appreciate. Right? So it takes one to know one. Similarly, those who understand how great is God can appreciate how great is God. Those who don't understand how great is God can't appreciate how great is God. To them, like frog in the well. You know that story? The frog in the well. The frog will ask, there's a frog in the well and there's a frog that came from the ocean. And the frog in the well is being told by the frog in the ocean, ocean is so big. The frog in the well swells up. Is it this big? It's much bigger. You can't imagine. Is it this big? Much bigger. You can't imagine. Is it that big? Much bigger. You can't imagine. Then he goes to the end of the well. He's like, is it bigger than this well? It's like, yes. It's like, nothing can be bigger than this well. And it's like, oh, you have no idea. This well is nothing compared to the ocean. No. This well is the biggest thing ever. I can't believe you. It's all imagination. So it's like that. Those who don't know how great is God, they can't appreciate how great is God. Right? They can only appreciate till like Mount Everest. That's the highest thing they know. Right? And they might know the solar system. That's the highest distance they know. They don't even know how big is the universe. What to speak of God, who has universe coming out of his sweat pores. Imagine how big is Mahavishnu that universes are coming out of his sweat pores. Universe, solar system, planet Earth, city of Kolkata, or wherever you are. Nothing, insignificant. So how great is God? If we don't understand, we can't appreciate how great is God. It's very, very important to know how much we don't know. So with poor fund of knowledge, we can't appreciate Krishna's form, his names, his activities. So we don't give our attention to chanting Hare Krishna because we don't understand how powerful is the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Right? Okay. But given we are reading Bhagavatam, we're studying, we should at least develop that. I might not appreciate, but it is there. Now it's saying the Lord is playing like an actor in a drama. True. When Krishna is doing his leelas, he's God. At any given point, he's God. Yet, he's such a great actor that he gets into the role. He actually feels scared of Mother Yashoda's stick. He's crying in fear. It's not a drama that I know I'm God, but I'll just cry to make everybody happy. No, he's actually fearful. He's so into the role because that's how he enjoys. He enjoys being subjugated by his devotees. Krishna does not like to be God in Vrindavan. He likes to be the boy, the boyfriend, the friend. He likes to be that. He likes to be one of the Vrajvasis. He doesn't like to be God. He likes to be the hero. Yes, he wants to be a hero, but that's it. He doesn't want them to see him as somebody to worship. He doesn't like to be worshipped in Vrindavan. So that's why you see how sometimes they treat the deities in Vrindavan. And Krishna he's very comfortable and casual in his abode. nor can they express such things. Neither is there speculation, nor in their words, right? So people who don't know, they don't know. And as we get to know, we feel awe and reverence. Wow. Like Arjun. He doesn't know right now. I mean, he knows, but he doesn't appreciate fully how great is God. But then 11th chapter, when he sees how great is God, seeing Vishwarup form, universal form, then he's like, whoa, this is my friend. This is Krishna. And we sleep on the same bed and we, pull each other's legs and, he's my charioteer. Whoa, right? So that knowledge has been gifted to us so we can appreciate Krishna. We can not be fearful of him, but we can appreciate the gift we have of being Krishna's dear friend. So Hridam Sarva Bhuteshu, right? What's the new name we learned today? Rid, what was that?
Rithpati.
Rithpati. Oh,
Rithpati.
very nice name. Rithpati. Wow. So Suhridam Sarva Bhuteshu and Rithpati. He is the Lord of our hearts. Yes, Aparna.
Yeah, I wanted to share, like we were discussing about like how great and how magnificent the feeling can be. Recently we got the opportunity here to see the Northern Lights, right? The Aurora Borealis. Like it is just it is just a solar storm, right? And how, we can see, and fortunate enough, I don't know if ever in lifetime I'll be able to see again or not, but once in lifetime, like got to see the glimpses of Aurora Borealis. And I was just thinking when I was actually witnessing that, like in the midnight, like when Arjuna was seeing the, what do you call, the Vishwaroop, I mean, what was it? Like just seeing the Northern Lights, like I can't express like how, what was that feeling? Like for, even after seeing the 2 nights after that, I went to the same mountaintop. And not only me, like, people, like generally over here, people, you'll not see rush much, right? Like it's like most of the parks are not that busy apart from weekends, summer days, right? But in the midnight, like, there was so much difficulty to just get a parking, and people were just waiting. They brought their tents and camps, and I was just thinking, this is just like a solar storm, just Northern Lights. Just imagine if Krishna ever ever gives like even a glimpse of his magnificence, his opulences, like that would be so amazing. And I am like, the more I just captured, if I could share, the pictures is so wonderful, the Northern Lights. And I was just remembering Krishna at that time, like just got tears. So I wanted to share, where the magnificence, like it's just solar storm, and just we cannot, we don't have the capacity to imagine the greatness that, that's there with the Supreme Soul. It's beyond imagination, beyond, like we cannot imagine. We are as little as tiny insects or ants, with the intelligence, of course, but that's our identity in this universe, what I feel. And we should always be very, very grateful for whatever capabilities and abilities or we have. I think that's all by His grace. I'm just feeling grateful.
Thank you for sharing. That was very beautiful. Thank you. All right. Okay. Would you like to do the honors of reading 38?
Sure. Would you like to do the honors of sharing the screen?
Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. I'm sorry.
Okay. Savita dhatuha padavim parasya duranta virasya rathangpaneha yo maya santatayanu bhajita tatpada sarojagandham. Only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Only those who render unreserved, that means no hesitation. Here's a service for Krishna. Okay. No reservation, no hesitancy, uninterrupted. Can go on and on and on serving Krishna. Favorable service unto the lotus feet of the Lord, who carries the wheel of chariot in his hand. So Krishna carries the chariot when Bhishma Dev tries to kill Arjuna and destroys the chariot. Krishna takes the wheel and is like, I'm going to kill you, Bhishma Dev. So who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand and can know the creator, of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. So basically, seva, bhakti allows us that privilege to know Krishna. Krishna makes himself knowable to his devotees. And thereby, once we know Krishna, we're attracted by the Lord's beauty, his strength, his renunciation, his various qualities and opulences, and his, every aspect of him, his skills, his power of speech. You know how beautifully he speaks in the Bhagavad Gita. We hear him, right? How beautifully he plays with Radharani, twists words here and there to lie to her, but not lie to her at the same time, right? Krishna has so many beautiful, beautiful qualities. So the more we render service, unreserved, uninterrupted, yes, my Lord, I'm ready to serve. Yes, I'm eager for service. The more he reveals himself to us in his full glory, power, and transcendence. And that's great fortune. Unfortunate are those who don't know how great is Krishna. Text 39.
Atiha dhanyam bhagavanta itham yad vasudeve khila lokanathe kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam nayatra bhuyah parivarta ukraha. Only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful and perfectly cognizant, for such inquiries invoke transcendental aesthetic love unto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universes, and guarantee cent% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death.
Wow. Only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful and perfectly cognizant of such inquiries. So cognizant of what? Cognizant of one's spiritual identity and cognizant of the greatness and the glory of the Supreme Lord. So when we ask, we receive. When we ask questions, that's when we receive answers. So for such inquiries, invoke transcendental ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universes and guarantees 10% immunity from dreadful repetition of birth and death. Who can guarantee dreadful repetition of birth and death? Guarantee immunity from dreadful repetition of birth and death? Krishna alone. That's why, although Hiranyakashipu was blessed by Brahma, he was not immune to repetition of birth and death. Only Krishna, only the Supreme Lord is beyond this death zone. So he can only bless us with life that is beyond birth and death. Text 40.
Idam bhagavatam nama puranam brahma sammitam uttama sloka charitam chakara bhagavan rishi nishrayasaya lokasya Dhanyam Swashtiyanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, and it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect.
Well, what else do we need? So Bhagavatam is literary incarnation of God. Vyasadeva is incarnation of God. So how much more pure can a literature be? In certain religions, on most religions, I guess, Abrahamic religions, it is a messenger of God who speaks on behalf of God. Abraham giving the 10 commandments, Angel Gabriel speaking to Prophet Muhammad, and yada, yada, yada. Nowhere do we see God speaking first person singular. Only in Bhagavad Gita it is spoken. And Srimad Bhagavatam is given by his incarnation, Vyasadeva, who's compiling what is already there given by Krishna, who's not writing anything new, who's compiling all of this in writing format for Kali Yuga people to consume. Because before that it was only audible tradition, or rather oral tradition. So Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna's literary incarnation, compiled by Vyasadeva, who's incarnation of God, and it is the ultimate good. There's nothing better than this. We are all fortunate, even if we get bored a little bit. Please understand, this is the ultimate good of all people. And it is all successful, all blissful, all perfect. So even if somebody is listening to this, who might not be paying attention, is also getting benefited. If somebody is in the house where this is being spoken, is getting benefited. So your speakers, keep it loud. Whoever is hearing this is getting benefited. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. Even ghosts get relieved from their ghostly form by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So it's the ultimate best thing one can ever do. Tad idam grahyam asa sutam atmavatam varam sarva vede titha sanam saram samudritam. Sri Vyasadeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized, after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe. Who is the son of Vyasadeva? Srila Shukadev Goswami. So Vyasadeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized, after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe. Please continue reading 42.
42. Satu samsravayam asam maharajam parikshitam prayopavishtam gangayam paritam param marshiviham. Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, in his turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great emperor Parikshit, who sat surrounded by sages on the bank of the Ganges, awaiting death without taking food or drink.
So now the narration starts of how this Sukadeva Goswami is going to speak. So till now we heard from Vyasadeva, and then Vyasadeva spoke this to Sukadeva Goswami, and now we are going to hear about Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, and that's where the actual. So we are still in intro mode, if you understand. Suta Goswami sitting in the not Dandakaranya forest. What is that forest?
Aranya. No.
Yes, something Aranya.
Vaivisharan.
Naimisharanya, right?
Naimisharanya.
Naimisharanya forest, right? So he is narrating, and then Vyasadev, about Vyasadev saying this, that, and Vyasadev spoke to Shukadeva Goswami, and then Shukadeva Goswami, after a little while, will be speaking, right? The glories of the Lord. It will be asked by our sure. So it'll be asked by Parikshit Maharaj, who would be cursed and everything, you know the story. And then Shukadeva Goswami would be answering the questions. All right. So now we're getting in that mode. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadev, is in turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great emperor Parikshit, who sat surrounded by sages on the bank of Ganges, awaiting death without taking food or drink. So for 7 days of his life, the last 7 days, as he realized he's going to die in 7 days, no food, no drink, no sleep, only Bhagavatam. That's called absorption. Because time is limited, can't waste it.
43. Krishne swadhamopagate dharma jnana vidhiha saham kalau nashta drisham esam puranarko dhunoditaham. This Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana.
So Srila Prabhupada asked one of his disciples, how do you sell the Srimad Bhagavatam? How do you distribute books? What do you say? And this devotee said, no, Prabhupada, the Bhagavatam sells itself. It says this Bhagavad Puran is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. The Bhagavad Purana is there when Krishna has left. Krishna left behind Srimad Bhagavatam. So thereby, the Bhagavatam is taking care of all of us who are lost in this dense darkness, not just darkness, but dense darkness of ignorance in Kali Yuga. So, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. So, dense darkness of ignorance, how can be overcome? Jnananjana, through the vision, the torchlight of knowledge. Knowledge of what? Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Purana. Brilliant as a sun. So, dense darkness of ignorance can be overcome by not a small LED light or a phone torch. It needs something as brilliant as the sun. And that brilliant as the sun is Bhagavad Purana. Something very, very potent. Something not very trivial, but very, very potent. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, where there are 80,000 verses, there's quite a few verses in introduction mode. So I hope it's okay with you, but it's beneficial for all of us, right? This hearing, chanting, narrating, it's beneficial. It's tremendous benefit. Lifetimes and lifetimes of karma is getting burnt just by us hearing and narrating and chanting the mantras. So somebody else other than Aparna wants to recite this verse, please feel free. There's this tremendous benefit in reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, I guess all good fortune comes to Aparna only.
Thank you. Thank you all devotees. I really, really respect your love. 44. Tatra kirtayato vipram viprasir bhuri tejasaham aham chadhyagamam tatra nivishtas tat anugrahan soham vaha sravayishyami yathadhitam yathamati. O learned Brahmanas, when Sukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention, and thus by his mercy I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him and as I have realized it.
So this is also very, very important to understand that when we repeat the words of the disciplic succession, that we should speak from realization. There are things that we don't have realization where we should repeat word for word. And there are things that we paraphrase that come from realization. But it's better to stick to realized knowledge only, because then the impact is there in the hearts of those who hear it. Right? Learned Brahmanas, when Shukadev Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention. And thus, by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from the great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the same thing as I learned it from him and as I have realized it. So this is the end of third chapter. Any questions, realizations, anything you want to share? Wow, pin drop silence. Okay, all right. In that,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question. Prabhuji, I'm a bit confused. The order in which the Bhagavatam is spoken. So, correct me if I'm wrong. So, Vyasadev compiled it, and so he transferred the knowledge to Sukdev Goswami. And when Sukdev Goswami was speaking, these sages who are sitting in Naimisharanya, they had heard it with attention, and now those sages are repeating it, and that is what we are going to hear for the next um, 11 cantos. Is that?
no. So, well, yes and no. So we are going to hear what Shukadev Goswami spoke from the mouth of Shukadev Goswami spoke from the mouth of, I was lost, I think, Vyasadev. Well, Vyasadev compiled it. Yeah, you know what? It is a little confusing. I am also kind of not there. How about this? I'll give you a homework. You figure this puzzle out. Okay? And next
Okay,
week,
Prabhuji.
next Philosophy Friday, you can kind of make a chart or something that helps all of us kind of get the clear idea who's speaking who and who's narrating what and how this flow is going. And that will kind of compel you to read through
Yeah.
with the verses, and it'll be good for you. It'll be a refresher, and we'll all benefit from your service. Yeah.
Sure, Prabhuji. Sure. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Please remember to do it. Okay.
Yes, definitely, Prabhuji.
I'll make sure your brother reminds you.
Sure.
All right. Anything else? Any question or realization anybody wants to share?
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhuji.
uh, uh, Bhakti yoga is the best. If what my question is, in the morning class, you said something that Ashtanga yoga, we take the principles of Ashtanga yoga to follow Bhakti yoga, right? Am I correct?
No.
No.
What principle of
Okay.
Ashtanga yoga do we use to?
Once you told the example that Prabhupada told his disciple in US that what my power is, or what is his power, is that if you send me in a room of full of naked women, then also I won't
Be agitated.
excite or something like that, agitated, like. So was that because of Ashtanga yoga or Bhakti yoga?
Bhakti. So bhakti includes Ashtanga, Jnana, Karma, all the good benefits of all of these other three yoga processes are there in Ashtanga yoga. Are there in Bhakti yoga. That's why Srila Prabhupada could fly, right? Like, there are many instances where he's walking on the sand. Everybody has a footprint. He wouldn't have a footprint. Or in Detroit airport, he just glided into the Vyasasan. Right, devotees saw and they thought they're probably having LSD effects or some hallucination effects. But when other devotees also saw, then they realized Prabhupada was actually gliding through. So how could he do that? Because bhakti includes the benefits of Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga allows you to do yogic siddhis, becoming heavy, becoming light, flying from one place to another, etc., etc. Right, taking a dip in one bank of river and coming out of another bank, teleportation. All of these are possible through Ashtanga yoga. But Bhakti yoga, by default, has all of these in it. So it's a superset of the small subsets.
Bhakti yoga means whatever we do, we should include Krishna in that, or we should thank Krishna
Lovingly,
for that, right?
lovingly. The word love is important. Lovingly include Krishna in that. Loving devotional service. Love and devotion to Krishna in a positive way. When it is there, it is bhakti in any activity.
Okay. And how it is different from Ashtanga yoga?
Ashtanga yoga relies on oneself. My mind, I will control it. I will control my breathing. I'll control my hearing. I'll go in a cave. I'll cut myself off from family and friends and whatnot, right? So it is reliant on oneself. And bhakti is, my dear Krishna, I'm fully dependent on you. If you want, you can make me a devotee. If you want, you can keep me an ignorant fool, as you like. I'm yours, regardless. That's the difference. One is self-reliant, one is Krishna-dependent. One is limited by one's own ability. Some people are very powerful yogis. Some are not. So it's not applicable to all, whereas bhakti is applicable to all. Because regardless of who you are, you can tap into Krishna reservoir and get access to unlimited anything, unlimited empowerment.
Right, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Shayan.
In continuation of what the other person said, my question is, then Bhakti Yoga is more easier
Yes.
than Ashtanga Yoga, right?
Yes.
And when somebody devoted to Krishna, then it happens that they're in Ashtanga Yoga you have to control your mind, emotion, and
I
all
would
that.
replace the word easier with natural. Bhakti yoga comes naturally to us than Ashtanga yoga.
Okay. No, in Ashtanga Yoga I have to focus on multiple things, but Bhakti Yoga the focus is
Krishna
and only.
exclusively.
So in that case, nobody will derail from what they have correct?
Maya is very strong. She can derail anyone from anything unless we hold on to Krishna tightly. But go ahead. Go ahead.
That is what the thing is. I mean, then both are similar then in that context. I mean,
There
if
is no.
Maya,
Bhakti Yoga, Krishna takes personal. Yes, one can be moved by Maya, but Krishna takes personal responsibility because the devotee is like a child. Krishna, I'm dependent on you. Maya is too strong. Can't help. Please, my urges are too strong. I'm praying to you. Kindly bestow me your shelter. The prayer mood is there. Dependence is there. So Krishna, even if one falls down, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, very quickly I lift them up. Kaunteya prati janihi. My bhakta, name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee is never vanquished. My devotee, bhakta, is never vanquished. Why? Bhakta is always praying to Krishna. My dear Krishna, please help me. So yes, Ashtanga Yogi and a Bhakti Yogi can fall prey to Maya. Ashtanga Yogi is on his own. Bhakti Yogi is Krishna. So Krishna is personally helping the Bhakti Yogi. Ashtanga Yogi is on the own pride. So he's on his own. Unless you fall out to Krishna, Krishna is not there.
so mentor is
Krishna is
there.
there as Paramatma, but he's not there actively to help.
Okay, understood. I mean, the mentor is there. I mean, always to help you.
Mentor.
Mentor like Krishna is there. I mean, in
Krishna
Bhakti
is
Yoga.
there. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Aparna?
Last comment. I think in Bhakti Yoga, we have surrender, right? Which is much required in surrender to the Supreme, that feeling, right? Because there are in Kali Yuga, like a lot of other things like, ego and, those are much more powerful. So when there is the surrender, there is no false pride, no false ego, even when we are devotees. So that keeps us, tightly entangled to Krishna. So that Bhaktya Vatsala. So that's what, I think that's there. Surrender in Bhakti
Surrender.
Yoga.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna and see you next Friday.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.